Welcome back to the next game in the XNA class. Hopefully everybody was able to find their way through Memory Master without too much difficulty. I've seen a few of the games popping up inside the XNA classroom. Good stuff, really good stuff. Now what we're going to do is move on to BattleBlocks. And BattleBlocks is really kind of like a multiplayer super breakout game, or an advanced version of Pong, if you will. So there's not going to be a lot of time spent here, though we are going to be tossing some videos your way once again with proof of concepts for some of the more sophisticated things in it. Now, we are going to leave BattleBlocks just a bit more open for you guys to come up with your own implementation plan or even requirements. There's not too many requirements that we're going to ask for, with the exception of we're looking for 2 players. If you would like to add in a little AI so that you can play against the computer, that would be cool. Of course, the goal is to have a player on one side, a player on the other side. So here we are with a wall, our screen basically. Ooh, that's horrible.
I like that wall.
Yeah,
it's curvy.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to figure out our collisions and all. Okay, and so we have another wall. And then the idea is that we're going to have a whole bunch of blocks between our players. However you feel like scattering those, that'll be up to you guys. But the goal is these blocks are going to be multiple rows, or in this particular case, up and down, it'd be multiple columns of blocks. And these blocks need to have health. So as we've got a ball on this side, and we've got a ball on this side, and it'd be a good idea to color code the balls to match, well, your player's color so that you know whose ball is whose. These balls will strike the wall, and as they strike the walls, we need to calculate, which way we need to bounce. Now, we've done stuff like this before, except this gets a little bit more involved, because what happens when we're left with a situation where there's just one block here, and we could have a ball that's coming in from this side. We could have a ball that's coming up from down here that might strike it right here on the bottom, or one that's coming in on the top that's going to need to ricochet off that way, or one that's coming in over here. You get the idea. So that we've got these different sides that we need to account for, 4 different sides. So what is the best way to break this up and calculate where our collision occurred, and then how do we need to properly cause our ball to react? In other words, bounce the appropriate direction. So we're going to take a close look at that. Also, we're going to look at generating a grid of boxes as well. But let's get back to the game. So as you're putting this game together, as you're putting your requirements together, we basically need a big, thick wall filled with these blocks. The blocks on the outermost sides need to have very, very little health, meaning that here's a ball is coming in from this right side player. He hits this brick right here, and perhaps this brick has just 1 health point, so it instantly kills this brick. Now let's say that there's another brick that's back here, so now we have the ball later on is coming through and it hits this guy, but this guy, well, he's got a little bit more health, so you might require 2 or 3 hits to kill it, or even 4 hits. And you could have the bricks change colors, you can have them play musical notes, you can have them do all sorts of things to make your game a little more interesting. So the idea is to basically chop away at all of the bricks. Now, at some point, you're going to end up with big holes, and once you have giant holes, what's going to happen? Well, now our balls can go through to the other side. And, of course, if they get through to the other side, now you can have the player who definitely should block and make sure it doesn't go off screen, because now it's kind of like we're mixing Pong and Breakout together. That player can return the ball, but when he returns the ball and it comes into contact with a brick, whatever points you were going to award the score, now they need to be double because, well, you've got the other player's ball. You get the idea. Logan, you want to add anything to that?
Right. The idea is to give some advantage. If you manage to sneak over and capture the other person's ball when they're trying to score a goal on you, you capture their ball, and, now you're rewarded for using it. You might even go so far as to make it do more damage to the bricks as it hits them.
Exactly.
So if you capture the enemy's ball, start using it to break the bricks away so you have a clearer shot of your own.
And make things interesting. Make it to where maybe you can hold one of the bumpers down and that'll act like a magnetic charge or something that'll hold the ball for just a second. Make your sticks to where maybe you can, one stick will control it going up and down, the other stick can control some sort of backspin off of it or something. try to get a little bit fancier with your math here. I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do to make this very interesting, make it a very fun multiplayer game. Now, of course, this has been designed in such a way that if you are a complete beginner still, you can really just build this up slowly. It's nothing too overwhelming. But if you are becoming more of an intermediate to advanced level programmer, you can do some pretty neat stuff with this. So just think about what would make it a fun game, what would make a good conclusion to the game, because we're actually not going to say how you win this game. Is it all the blocks need to be killed? Is it, I mean, there could be also, I'm not going to even give any ideas because I want you guys to be creative. I want to see what the students in this class come up with. Impress us. Yes, there we go. But once again, we are going to be doing some proof of concept videos where we're going to be focusing on collision, and we're going to take a look at math. We're going to be using the ATAN2 function. We're going to be dealing with the radians. It's going to be a lot of good stuff. The whole idea is that as we go through each of these games, we basically step things up, make it just a little bit more complicated. Once again, giving you the core concepts that you need, that you have yet to learn, and then take those, merge that with everything you've already learned, and construct the game. So in this particular case, we're looking for requirements to be put together, implementation plans, and then finally the full game. So anything else, Logan?
I think that gets the basics across. Again, it's almost being left out a little bit more open-ended, but like you said, that's because we want to see what everyone comes up with. Because I mean, we've got a rather wide palette of things we can do. There's all of the code in the past can be pulled from and used to put this together. And of course, we're going to cover the things that are brand new, things like we were talking about with the boxes. Boxes have 4 different sides. You have to know what side you're on when you calculate a balance. But we'll be taking a look at things like that, the technical aspects.
It'd be really cool for someone to do. Because I know that we've got some students out there that at this moment, they just turn their speakers up, put their coffee down, they're listening very carefully now. It'd be really cool if maybe your paddle had like a portal gun from Portal that just came out, right? So then they could... Wouldn't it be interesting if you fired a portal at the back wall or at one of your blocks and you had just an opening and you was able to hit it at the back wall? And you could just do some pretty crazy stuff.
Portal is a registered trademark of Valve Incorporated and probably other people.
Exactly. We'll call it the teleporter gun because that name's free. But just throwing out ideas. There's all sorts of really neat stuff to do, and that would be really easy to do, actually. So in this particular kind of game. But... Just try to be creative. Let's see some really interesting stuff come out of this. Let's go ahead and take the idea of Super Breakout and Pong and push them to the next level. So we've got some very interactive and cool multiplayer games. Okay? So with that is our objective and kind of a quick overview. In the next video, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the math, and then we're going to spend a little while putting together an entire application. As a matter of fact, Logan, is that application still loaded at the moment?
The final? I know that both of those are tests.
Okay, well, never mind. I was going to show you where we're going, but you guys will see it as we build it from ground up. I wasn't going to show it originally, but the whole idea is we're just going to make a grid of boxes and then have a whole bunch of balls that bounce all around in different directions, and it looks fantastic. So anyways, that's what we're doing, and with that, let's go ahead and get started.